Hey everybody, I hope everyone is safe and sound during this time and had a great holiday season. Happy New Year's with your family and friends. We're living in very interesting times to say the least, but no matter what, finding ways to live well, impacting others and oneself with positivity is always the way. And today I got one of my good buddies, Gary Slate, a former Peace Corps volunteer in Ghana, straight out of Compton, I always want to say it, straight out of Boston, the accent, an avid runner, an amazing chef. He knows his food. Any place he goes to, he knows all the hot spots there better than Yelp. Yeah, I said it, better than Yelp. He cooks a storm on his Instagram. You can see so many amazing creations from his many cultural inspirations. It kind of comes with the territory because he speaks multiple languages. We're talking about Spanish. We're talking about Twi, a language in Ghana. He's a huge Red Sox, New England Patriots fan. A colleague of mine, he's a solution finder, great leadership skills, always teamwork, team building. And did I forget to mention he's a new dad as of early this year. So I congratulate you again, Gary. Congratulations live.
Thank you, Vinh.
Yep, for sure. An overall awesome guy with always a big smile on his face. Thanks for coming on to this interview, Gary, where I'm going to bombard you with lots of questions on how to be positive and how you share that with the people you care about and the people you love. So let's get straight to it. But first and foremost, before I always ask, different questions like, how do you like my turtleneck and how do you like my Buddha beats, Gary?
Oh, I love it. And the thing is that not only your persona, but also what you wear and how you present yourself, man. It speaks to what we're going to talk about today in terms of how to remain positive and have a positive outlook, no matter what you're dealing with in life. So I not only appreciate your necklace, your Buddha beads. I appreciate you wholeheartedly, for sure.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate you, man. I'm going to hit you with the first question. You ready?
Ready.
What is, positivity, you, Gary, and how do you mold it to impact your life? How do you use it as a tool to impact your life and the people around you?
Well, it's interesting because, the happiest people that I have met, the people that I consider to be the most positive, and I don't think, when I've gotten to know them, they don't have everything. In terms of like material things or anything like that. They at least don't sort of, they don't seem to sort of like be kind of showy with that type of stuff. What I've noticed is that they appreciate what they have, where they are, when they are, all that kind of stuff. And, that doesn't mean they're not fighting the good fight and fighting for what they can and trying to have, process improvement, but I think it's and I've heard from them that it's still important to do that, but enjoying as much of life as possible at the time, as you're trying to still fulfill, have a fulfilling life rather, whatever that means to you, how you remain positive. It's focusing on the positive things that are in your life. And focusing on the things that are in your life. It's interesting because I remember back in the day, I was taught not to dwell in the past, right? And also not to be so focused on the future and to be in the present. Well, to me that, and people that I've talked to, include like Mike Meltzer, the mindfulness guru, he's always talking about that, you can't take away from the fact that we're human. And we're going to be where we are, when we are, etc. So the idea of saying, oh, don't dwell on the past and don't think about the future so much and be in the present, well, that is your present. And so it's sort of always kind of putting a positive spin on things. Not everything, because you're not always going to be happy, but being mindful of where you are, when you are, whether it is that you're thinking about the past, whether you're thinking about the future, whether you're working on being in the present, being mindful of that and not being so hard on yourself. And constantly striving to do the best that you can to remain as positive as possible, but realize that hey, things are going to happen in your life. You're going to be challenged. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be things that are out of your control. And to always kind of see those as what they are, and that are in your present, but always kind of understand it through, and I think it's built on experience, that you are who you are because of the experiences that you've had that have gotten you to the point that you're at. And you've overcome all of those things. You've experienced all those things.
Right.
And I guess that, you mentioned that I speak Tree, and I spent some time in Ghana.
You did. I did.
About positivity, and whenever I think about, when people talk about don't dwell in the past and the like, I always think about Sankofa. And Sankofa is a Ghanaian Akan people symbol. And it's a bird looking backwards while the rest of its body is forward. And sometimes it's facing towards an egg. And the symbolism is that it's really stressing the importance of being okay, going back to previous knowledge and previous experience to ensure that you're building positivity in the present and the future.
Right.
And so it's not that don't dwell in the past, but also take solace in the experiences that you've had and the positivity that you've experienced, and utilize that to better your present and to prepare and better your future. So, it's kind of interesting because a lot of things can be thrown at different people, and a lot of things can be said. But at the end of the day, again, be mindful of where you are, when you are, and how you are, and do with it as you want, and understand that is your present. And you can define it however you want. But at the same time, why not make it more worthwhile and be a realistic optimist? So understand where you are, when you are, how you are, and understand that, hey, you know what? I'm realistic. That this is what's going on. This is what's facing the world. This is what I'm dealing with right now. But at the same time, why not be optimistic that it's going to be okay? That I can be positive. That I'm gonna overcome whatever the challenges, whatever the experience is.
Right.
And that ultimately that's progress. Living life and experiencing things, whether they be challenging, whether they be hurdles, even if they are extremely helpful, if they're positive. That no matter what, it's progress.
I'm with you.
To me, that caters to realistic optimism, and I think that is keys to how I remain positive, and how I encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. A positive realist, right? Understanding what's going on, understanding your past, and finding ways to build towards a better future. I like that, man. I think a lot of times, we dwell too much in the past. I think you were getting to that point, and we get stuck there, and it's easy to get stuck, right, in the past, because we have a pretty powerful brain that can go back in the past, dig it back up, and make it a problem, right, where we can actually just make little changes now as a realist and move forward to something better. So thank you, Gary, for sharing that. And I want to add and dig a little more is a little bit into your past. It's like growing up in Boston, right? You're growing up in Boston. And so, growing up there, what is one thing that you've learned growing up in Boston that has impacted your life in Chicago? Whether it's, your childhood with your mom and dad, or things that you've learned in Boston that really became your pillars today, if I may ask.
Well, first and foremost, it's family. And a lot of it really has to do with the fact that, everything that I've said, a lot of it comes from my experience and definitely comes from my upbringing, for sure. But I think one of the keys that stands out is that at the end of the day, my folks would say that not everybody's going to be a friend. Not everybody is going to be doing good things. Not everybody is going to have the same intentions, the good intentions that you had. But that doesn't mean that they're not human, and it doesn't mean that you don't respect those people. You know, and that respect for anybody, respect for all, it's so crucial. And so long as that you are respectful and that you are a good person,
right?
Hope that there's positive and good people in the world, and so long as you are those things, well, then there's good in the world. And so it started right there with my family and my close friends, and then as I kind of went through different places through moving away to college, and then I lived in DC for a little while prior to going to Ghana, and then coming here in Chicago. I've met some great people that I wouldn't have met if I went in and I was disrespectful, and I appreciate the fact that they're different and they come from different backgrounds, have different experiences, maybe have different intentions, but at the same time, it starts with respect and showing respect and kindness right from the start, regardless of what I've heard about somebody, regardless of any of that, and create experiences that and remaining positive that hey, so long as I'm doing what I have to do to be a good person, to respect others, to pursue a fulfilling life, and fulfilling experiences, I mean that's gold, man.
That's you hit something I've never thought about a lot. I mean, I thought positivity was this happy thing, joy, building this thing, and then you brought in the word respect. And it got me thinking of making that connection now, right? Respect, as you respect a culture, respect people, you are being positive. You are giving that person their light for them to shine bright. Kind of like that song, Shine Bright Like a Diamond. Anyway, man, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, and tailoring on that, it's that, things like this, and, going on YouTube and talking about positivity, and how people can better themselves, how they want to absorb this material, and how they want, how they translate it, and how they can make it work for them. Right. I mean, that's what it's all about. And
straight.
I mean, it's so long as there are people like us that are doing that and putting that information out there and letting people taking it and run with them and translate it themselves and running with it. I mean, that's how you spread positivity.
Plant the seed.
And finding your way to do that. I mean, certain people do it through a variety of different ways. Right. Again, so long as people are doing that, so long as we're doing it, well, then it's happening.
I'm with you. I'm with you, man. Thanks, Gary. I got this question I've been dying to ask you. Food is such a big part of our lives, right? And I know you're always coming up with new recipes that just wakes me up. I just look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I want to copy this. I want to try this out. Where did you come up with these recipes? What inspired you to cook? Where does this all come from, man? Because it's really positive and it just affects me right away, your creations, right? So talk to me, man. What's going on there with food?
Well, I mean, I've always thought that kind of food is the way to anybody's hearts. I mean, people said that. People can be hangry. People can be, really not themselves if they're not well fed. And I've experienced it. Especially in my travels abroad. That, and also in some of the programs that we do for a day-to-day job. That, I mean, the key to sort of a great foundation is at least having the opportunity to have a good meal. Yeah. And to me, to reach people, I have found one it's a passion of mine to cook, but also it's more the driving force for that is because I love bringing that positivity to people. But also, people, they send it back to me,
right,
in the form of compliments. And so, it started when I was in college. I was learning how to make chicken. And chicken is actually pretty difficult to begin with because it has to be cooked perfectly. And then I was doing random stuff like hamburger helper and like just sort of just growing that the art of cooking for myself and just trying to figure out how do you do these things. And it was as simple as following directions on a box.
Right.
But then when I went to Africa, and it's sort of just, you have to be really creative when you go to a place that you're not so familiar with the food, you're not so familiar with the spices and whatever the thing is that you're making meals out of, and also in terms of stove that I was using and all this, everything is different.
Right.
It really forced me to be creative. But it also made me realize that you need food to survive. You need water,
right?
But then you also you need food, and at the same time, you can make something out of nothing.
True that.
And then coming back to the United States, and understanding the access to food. And the access to spices and the access to whatever it is, also access to the internet, which has if there could possibly be too many cooks in the kitchen, I don't know. There's so many cooks,
right?
And so obviously could there be too many cooks? I don't know, but
right.
That there's and us having access to the food, and it's inspected. And it's healthy, to certain standards that we have in the United States. And so long as you're taking the proper hygiene and sanitation into the practice that you're doing, and then you have access to so many recipes and also recipes that I've acquired through different experiences, whether it be interactions with family members, or cookbooks that I have from family members of even ancestors, to conversations that I've had when I talk to people about my cooking, or that I have an Instagram, Slate's Plates, or and people, really food and cooking, it just really brings out the best in people. Not only to survive, but also the fact that people like talking about it. And everybody, as it kind of tails us to what we were talking about before, everybody has their own experiences,
right?
With everything, but everybody has their own experiences with food. And everybody, in different cultures and everything like that. There's different types of food and different dishes that you can make, and you can get really creative. So all of that, really, the driving forces behind me and my passion for cooking and making meals.
Hey, I'm with you, Gary. So my people, if you're watching this, start cooking, start smelling the spices, start adding and spice up your dishes, and share it with your family and friends, just like my buddy Gary, because you inspired me, Gary, to even make, this past holiday, I was making vegetarian lasagna. I was trying to change up the spices, all kinds of stuff. Of course, it was a hit. Thank you. And so cooking is amazing because it adds an element of creation. You're creating something from scratch. Very different compared to buying stuff from the restaurants or certain things, but you're creating and giving that to your loved one for them to eat that and make them happy. And because food, in a sense, becomes you. It energizes your cells, energizes you, right? And gives you power for the day. So I'm 100% with you, brother. Thank you for that, man. Great answer. So this is another question that I know it's coming is, during this time, Gary, you have imbued a lot of thoughts on cooking, on being positive, on making sure not to dwell in the past and be a realist in life and put positivity for real forward. But during this COVID time, pandemic time, during this time where no one wants, right? But it is what it is by natural cause or whatever it is. What is your message to the people right now to hang in there, to be positive, which is such a word that can be tossed around, but like you said, respect, right, is a key word. And how do you, what's your message to the people watching this video today during this time, COVID?
Well, it's been a time for exploration. It's been a time for trying to find my passions. Mm-hmm. And I hope that people have made good use of their time to find their passions. Mm-hmm. And also, identify how they can get through anything. I mean, there's a constant the thing that we've said in my house is that if we can make it through COVID and we can make it through this time, mm-hmm. we can do it together. And we can do anything.
That's right.
And I think that that's the same thing with our country, our world. I've seen so many positive things that are coming out of this, in addition to the struggles and all that kind of stuff. But mm-hmm. the coming together of our world. There's a lot of bad, but at the same time, to me, it's we recognize the bad, but mm-hmm. at the same time, there's so much good that has been identified in addition, and people working together, people working on different passion projects, people helping people out.
Yep.
And that is what I'm talking about. That is what I was saying before about so long as there are people in this world that are doing that kind of stuff, there are going to be people doing bad stuff, but there is good in this world. And people have been able to identify mm-hmm. how they can be good as well, and how they can consistently help people be positive and progress, mm-hmm. and to kind of stay on course to survive.
Agreed.
And that's what it's all about. And in doing so, we're all progressing together and positively in the best way that we possibly can. So right. I say to people, keep doing it, and keep striving to do good things. And the thing is that is what is going to get us through COVID, but also it's going to be something that we can look back, like mm-hmm. COVID advises, look back and be able to grab hold of those positive things, those good things that you've done even in this time, mm-hmm. with everything that's going on in the world, and get those positive nuggets.
Yeah.
And utilize those to influence the future positively. So that's what I'll leave you with.
No, I'm with you 100%, man. It's one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel in a very grassroots style, reaching out to my friends, my colleagues, my people I care about, and asking what positivity is to them, because I think with doing that and people hearing it, it might help their lives and impact their lives. And I think we all, like you kind of mentioned, have the capacity to do good in our lives. And there's always, by doing good in our lives, we're impacting other people. And it's a very organic thing, being positive and doing good, right? It spreads that way. While all the other things that could be negative spreads, in its own way. But we need to continue to be strong, like you said, and use respect as the forefront when dealing with hanging out with people. Respect, be positive, spread that kind of energy. So I really appreciate that message. And this is one of my last questions here, or actually it is the last question, is how can people get in touch with you, Gary? Maybe they want to share cooking ideas with you, or they want to say hi, or, is I reckon Instagram, or is there something I could, how can people stay connected with, Instagram maybe, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way is probably through Instagram, Slate's Plates, especially with cooking. I mean, the whole basis of the whole thing is to share positivity through cooking.
Right
As we were talking about that, social media a lot of times is kind of used as a platform to spread negativity.
True.
So why not utilize it for positive means? And Slate's Plates has allowed me to reach pretty wide platform, followers, and I have experienced more interactions, positive interactions, and talking about different foods, different cultures, different things that are going on in people's lives. People have reached out to me more with this Slate's Plates initiative than any other social media platform initiative that I've ever done. So I think that is probably the best way and easiest way to get in touch with me.
Okay, I'll make sure to put it in the description below the video and get it to the people so they can also share the love and understand, what's cooking all about and connect with you potentially,
For sure. And by all means, they can send me recipe recommendations and I'm open for that. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely focused on making it as much of a give as well as I'm well.
I'm with you, man. Hey, and with that said, brother, I want to take this time to thank you, Gary, personally, not only at coming on the show, but as a friend, as a buddy, for coming on the show, sharing your thoughts and positivity and ways to do that even during this time. So I hope today's conversation with Gary Slate really inspire people to look at life differently, be involved, make a difference for your life, impact those around you. And all in all, coming back in a circle is appreciate you, Gary. Tuning out with 2 words, and it's be awesome. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Be awesome.
Be awesome. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, y'all, if you like content like this, show some love by clicking the like button below, hit subscribe, and please comment. Good or bad comments, just keep it real, keep it original, and keep it coming. I promise you, this is not just for my own selfish vanity, but a way to really gauge where to improve content and keep spreading the love back to y'all. So by the power invoked in an average Joe like me, I will wish everybody a good day, great day. Be awesome, be well. Remember to be positive. Peace.